Every one of my records means something. The label, the producer, the year it was made.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
$1,000 to the old folks home to like help them renovate and stuff. Because he went there, he's like, I get a knock on my door. Hello, young man. I brought you this cake from church today. I'm like, oh, thanks, Mr. Whiskey. I like shoot the shit for a little bit.
Your name was Whiskey, Mr. Whiskey.
Whiskey.
Oh,
Mr. Whiskey.
He's a good man. Mr. Whiskey was a good man. Long live Mr. Whiskey.
all right. This is the Record Night podcast. I'm Colin. This is not a traditional episode. We're gonna review, if you can call it an episode. It was really more of a debacle last week. Yeah. Jake brought a jazz record. It was what record did you bring, Jake?
It was Victor Wooten, Chambers and Bob Franceschini, and the name of the record was TRYPNOTYX, and it was a collaboration between those three musicians.
And so this was the first. It was the first record in the history of record that we did not complete. It was a double LP.
Tapped out.
We got through one
full disc.
We got through one record, and then we couldn't do it. So we're gonna talk about what happened. But before we do, we'll take a look back to last week. Joe's microphone was off due to a technical snafu. So for the YouTube video, I've thrown subtitles under Joe. But he's picked up a little bit on our mic, so you can kind of hear what's happening. But so let's take a look at that, and then we'll talk about it.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's hard. It requires like effort to listen to. But like I said, if you just keep this, even if you're unsure about it, boom, 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 boom. Cause it's weird, cause it's like almost inferred timing, if that makes sense. Like they're on every other timing except the one that it actually is. Heartbeat. You hear the cymbals? That's what's actually keeping the time.
Yeah. That's what I could tell you were
Yep.
mimicking.
The cymbals. Pay attention to the cymbals if you lose time. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. It was so hard, wasn't it? Like, it was hard for me, and I've heard this record before. Let's discuss.
No. I'll just say this is definitely like I would just say honestly, it's a taste I haven't acquired yet. The record itself.
Behold.
I don't know how to process this.
Joe's like, he's so perplexed.
No, this is something that I've never heard before. This is so foreign to me. Like, there's music that I've listened to, and then there's jazz music.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Is the rest of the record like this?
Probably.
I don't know if I could do this.
You can do it.
I'm serious. I'm serious. This is so weird to me. I don't know how to process it.
You can do it.
No. Like, my heart's racing.
How do I do this?
It's just so weird to me.
That was the easy shit. Some people.
No, I gotta take a break. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Wow. That's an interesting reaction.
I get where Joe's coming from.
It's so.
What it was because it was so much effort. Like it's so much like work.
Okay, I think music is like one way. Like it's a song, right?
Yeah.
Except for maybe Tool. Tool is a little weird. This, I don't even like categorize this the same as like all these records here don't sound anything like that.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. But there's a whole genre of that.
And people enjoy this.
Yes. Yeah, they do. It's hard.
Okay, so listen.
Really, what it
I
is.
don't know, man.
Really, what it is. He can't find the one. It's so hard.
No, my heart is like beating.
Why?
I don't know.
You hated it that much?
No. It's just like a whole new experience. It's like learning how to swim for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Riding a bike.
Like, help me. I don't know where this makes sense. Yeah.
Here's what I was gonna say. Like they say jazz is an acquired taste, right? Like for real. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like if we did a podcast where like if we had never tasted beer before and we all tried
And we
beer
hate it.
for the first time,
Yeah.
it'd be like, this is fucking
so
trash,
funny.
you know? Like you come around, you know, if you listen to it enough, you come
I
around
had
to
a-
it. But
Dude, I was excited for this record because I like, in the back of my head, I knew this was going to happen. Like, I'm so excited. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going.
I don't know.
Side 3 and 4, baby. Let's go.
I gotta respect Joe here if he doesn't want if he really doesn't want to move on with the record. Okay, so we've had a week to kind of think about it. I think we all really thought about it a lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought about it a lot this week.
A lot of discussions on the text thread.
Yep.
So one of the interesting, I loved that I feel like you guys kind of found mutual ground because we were in a text group about it, and you know, my joke was we're lucky that Jake is back this week. He didn't commit suicide after we
That's rough.
after we rejected his record. Well,
Well, it's not rough. Like, I don't care because I love the music. But
No.
it's weird.
No.
It's something that is something I've never experienced before
no, but
in my life.
Same here.
Well, no, but I really relate to that because like one of the cool things to think about Record Night is part of the thing is like we all have an open mind, and so like you can bring a record that you think is really meaningful, right? And then we're all gonna listen to it, and hopefully if I bring a record, hopefully it means something to me, and hopefully I can get across
Yeah.
what that means, and then it'll make the same impact on you guys. And I definitely experienced it a lot as a kid. I felt like listening to not pop music, you'd encounter a lot of like, what is this? Turn this shit off. And that hurts, you know what I mean? Something means something to you, like deeply, and somebody says, this is terrible, I don't like this. So I understand that. And you were referencing last week that you were going to go into a deep depression and everything over the fact that we didn't like the record. But it was jazz. Jazz is an acquired taste. So yeah, Joe, I also was not really vibing with it, at least not the B-side. But Joe, if you could just talk a little bit about what happened last week.
Yeah, so I want to go back in my notes because like the first couple songs were okay. Like I'm trying to think what were like
Funky D.
Like Funky D was good. 13th Floor it was fine. You know, I even wrote a note how it was good. And then the song Little Rice and Beans came on, and it changed everything. Everything that I previously knew about music, it just changed it all.
It was funny to find that it was just that song.
The one song.
Just that song.
That's why I was really surprised that like you didn't make it to the B-side, because there were some songs that I felt like, especially the first song on the second LP rather.
Yeah.
Second
Yeah, it's a
actual
double
vinyl.
LP. So we made it through
One full.
Yeah.
And on that second one, they kind of bring it back to like almost like an elevator music. They go into like Rice and Beans is probably more in the free jazz, full of strange improvisation and almost vocalizing with the instrument. But you wouldn't. What's weird when I say that is you wouldn't even vocalize that way. Like, when's the last time you heard a human being go like meow meow? You know, it's like an animal or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I feel that if we would have got to the side B, it would have pulled you back
Sure.
to earth a little bit. You know what I mean? And I don't think you would have liked it.
But
it wouldn't have. You wouldn't have been left on that step. If that makes sense.
I was just so overwhelmed. Like my heart was racing. Like Like I just my it's like my head hurt, like my brain like hurt, my heart was racing,
I think with
and
jazz,
I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. Like,
we were kind of talking about timing a little bit, and first off, the
Here,
timing.
pause. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
To jump back in, Jake, you were talking about the timing being off on jazz.
So I think with jazz, in a lot of the songs, me and Joe were just talking about DC-10 is like the second track on the album, and how the timing in that song's weird. Like in certain parts of the album, you hear that they all play the same note, that bow, 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 and then it's like it's almost hard to find the one, and like last night I was listening to that record because it interests me when people say they don't like it. I actually listened to Rice and Beans was the first one I listened to because I was like, what is it about this song that really threw them off? I heard right away.
did you?
Like I was able to identify what it was, and it was the saxophone.
Okay.
Well, and you were acknowledging in real time, which everybody saw in the clip. You were acknowledging that it was difficult.
But
you were saying it's difficult.
Yeah, but it's rewarding. And what I was saying about timing is, there's two things about I think jazz. Jazz is full of a lot of improvisation. So you might have improv in even a metal song, but it doesn't last too many measures. You might have an improvisation part, it'll last 8 measures, but the rest of the song, the lyrical part lasted 8 measures. And when you only have 3 instruments, think about this too, 3 instruments in the band, keeping beat or something, when they're all doing a weird improv part or something, or especially when they're doing it at the same time, you're used to music pulsating in a way that brings you back to home base. Even when they improv, right?
Sure.
It goes back to the chorus and you're back at home base. I think with jazz, the focus is on improv so much that it's when you're playing a crazy part, it's not, people think of it as gibberish, but in the context of the original like melody you were hearing in the beginning, it's almost like it's sometimes with that, I wonder if it's like the amount of musicians is a limiting factor, because if I play the drum beat that was playing before in the smoother part of the song and the melody in my own head, all of a sudden the improvisation makes a lot of sense and it's easy. But it's drawn out over a much longer period than regular music. So it's so easy to lose your place.
Like,
and
how
once you
long?
lose it,
How long is that Little Rice and Beans song? Like 8 minutes?
Maybe not quite that long.
It was like 6.
But
It was a pretty long song. I can look it up.
I just felt like it went on forever.
Well,
and it was just like...
Well, I feel like the instrumentation is kind of a big aspect of it, because like what I was saying at the time is I feel like if it was a guitar was improvising in that way, I might really like it. I mean, Grateful Dead, jam bands like that are like that, where those songs are long and they just improvise. But jazz is just a different thing. So I felt like I could get into it. It's like I said at the time, it's an acquired taste. So I think I could get there. But yeah, for me it was really just the instrument. Like I said, like the bass, I was really okay with the bass parts. I thought those were funky and stuff, but just the saxophone, literally just the saxophone going off was like unsettling to me,
I really like. I think it, and I think too, it depends like what you're going into music, what you're trying to do with the music, because I don't know, like even with sad music, I'll say like blues, like it gives you this kind of high, like it feels nice to listen to blues.
You connect with it.
And I think part of jazz a lot of the time, even with just the notes they use and the patterns they use, there's a lot of ambiguity and uncertainty with where they're going. It doesn't end on the note you want it, you're expecting it to end on. So when it does that, it's, you were saying like, dude, I have like anxiety. It's because you don't know where they're fucking taking you. You kept saying like, it's pulling me out to the ocean. Well, yeah, you don't know.
It was a good analogy. It was a really good analogy.
But it's like it's almost like, do I want to feel like I'm walking through an alley, a dark alley, when I'm listening to music?
No.
Because that's how you feel when you're walking. Like,
no.
keep going quicker. I do. But that's not saying that's bad, right or wrong. I'm just saying like I get almost a weird thrill out of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and that's alluring to me. I like it a lot. That uncertainty, and then finally, after a really long period of that uncertainty, it comes back around to that that slow melody or that.
Do you feel
smooth
like
jazz.
at the end of that little rising beat, you had to take like you have to like breathe like wow, that was like an experience. Like that was like
No, I
no.
don't think so.
Okay, I did. I felt like
I
man,
totally
like,
agree.
that was
It's
nuts. Like I felt like I had to take like a breath. Like that was fucking crazy.
But that's because, like I said, effort. Like I told you, I was on that DC-10 song trying to figure out what the timing was, so I knew when that note was gonna hit. This is, I think it was like at 9/8 or something, or some weird time signature. I figured it out, it felt good, and if you can kind of figure that out and get a feel for it, you can kind of keep that internal metronome. But if you, took effort.
I
to
couldn't.
do.
I couldn't figure it out.
And also a lot of listens, like at least 10 listens to the album.
Well, but again, I mean, in the clip, I mean, that was happening in real time. Jake is like,
I got it. I got the one.
Jake's doing all this movement, and you and I are just sitting there, just fucking stone, like, you know what I mean? Just like trying to like endure, you know.
Dude, I was like swaying like in this chair here, like swaying, and it was almost like hypnotic in a way, like how it was like almost like lulling myself, you know, to try to get into like a good place. And
You're
then
almost there. The song's almost
and I was
over.
like, oh my god, my fucking head started to hurt, my heart started beating, like
Yeah.
it was nuts.
Yeah, well, and it led to a good, for me, like a cool, like I said, we all, I think we all thought about it all week, and so I was looking up, I was looking up all these YouTube videos. Again, I don't think it's an uncommon. That's what I was trying to explain as it was happening. Is like, you know, jazz is a weird thing. Not everybody likes it. It's polarizing. A lot of people hate jazz. People like jazz. I think there's other. I mean, even it's like classical music. You know, it's different.
I wonder how I would react to a classical album. If I would react in that same way, or if it would be just like, okay, I don't like this. Like,
I
we've
think
listened to albums here before on Record Night where I just didn't like, but I could still sit through it,
Right.
and I could still pick up, even like, okay, Insomnia was a record I didn't like, right?
Sure.
But there was still some stuff in that album that I could key in on, and I could follow along with that one. I'm just talking about the one song. I couldn't key in on anything, and it just like I was just like lost at sea. Like
The best. It was so good. You're like, is the rest of the record like this? And Jake is like, well, yeah. You know, I don't know if I could do this. You know.
it's true.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. It was unsettling. So it was a great experience.
It was
I love watching it back, dude. It makes me laugh every time.
I know.
You had such a
man.
genuine aversion to the music. It was so great.
Oh,
Like,
it was 100% real
Yeah.
reaction. I mean, that's what we're kind of going for on this channel,
Sure.
and it was
Sure.
that was it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. I think.
I am almost excited for, like, I wonder if there's some genre out there that will get me one day. I want to feel that. I've never,
Because I
I've
never knew
felt
that would
it
happen.
before.
I
Yeah.
never knew. I mean, songs have made me cry, have made me happy, have
Sure.
made me whatever, but I've never been like just
Anxiety
dumbfounded, like just like
Well, and
lost.
that was one
Lost is a good word. Like I was just lost.
Yeah.
And I didn't have bearings.
But is it weird? Like, do you, like, okay, so, like, how do you, like, do you distinguish the feeling you're feeling now through, like, someone listening to punk, like, hardcore, like,
no.
Is it a different feeling from that Lost? Is it, like,
There's still enough.
Do you think
to
it was-
grab
That's
onto,
more.
I
That
feel
could be
like.
more like unpleasant or to the ear, you know.
but you couldn't even identify,
Right.
Yeah.
There's still elements you can grab onto. Like the vocal might be like, you know, but like whatever. The music still makes enough sense that you can grab onto it. But yeah, with the jazz, again, there are no lyrics in the jazz, right? So you don't have that, right? You have the instrumentation, and when the instrumentation is crazy improvisational all over the place, it's just hard to follow. And that's one of the things about jazz. I mean, that's one of the things that makes it like thrilling for you or whatever,
Right.
however you described it, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, I think a good comparison, which I know it's not the same kind of music, but Captain Beefheart. That's the Captain Beefheart trout face replica, whatever it's called. That's some people laud that record. They think it's amazing. Like music theory people love it, but to a normal listener, it's like, what the fuck is this? So that might be a little bit more out there, like on the spectrum than jazz, but it's. I don't know. It's on the spectrum. As far as like traditional music to like, okay, here's jazz, here's Captain Beefheart, whatever. You know, it's just different.
It's what's interesting about jazz too is it, like I said, like I like that it's different and it gives me a thrill that out of place. I remember like one of the first tracks, I was like, doesn't it give you that Hey Arnold vibe? And the whole Hey Arnold vibe is like when you hit that weird note, it gives you that sense of uncertainty. That's just one note and it's weird enough.
Yeah.
Right? When you hear that, it's almost like the saxophone cries. Like when you think about crying in blues, crying isn't. That's crying in blues. But when you hear crying in jazz, it's like it's an actual cry. Like it's so much more unsettling to hear it as it would be in real life than transcripted into like this genre. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's interesting. Well, okay. Well, because you have a what is it? A niece, nephew? You have a niece.
Yeah.
And so I remember when my sister first had her kid, and he was like a newborn baby. Like when they cry, I mean, it is the worst sound. I mean, it is like horrible. It sounds horrible, but I immediately understood like why people snap and shake babies. You know what I mean? Because it's like this. I need this to stop. You know what I mean? Like it really. So like. That's a little bit how I felt with this side. Like the saxophone, like being like really intense like that. It was like.
And there's other songs too on there. Like I'm sure Colin kind of listens to it. It almost gives you a Pink Panther kind of vibe with the flute. It's the one with the flute. But there's like police sirens in the background, like woo woo, and it's like giving you that.
I don't know if I could do that.
Like how do you feel when you hear a high speed chase? Outside your home, like that doesn't feel good.
Well, it definitely makes me notice.
Yeah,
definitely. Whatever I'm doing, if I hear sirens, it definitely makes me like kind of perk up and be like,
it's definitely real. I know that. It's like I don't think it's weird. It's weird to me that jazz, I can understand being lost in a theory, musical, beat kind of perspective, but like I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know why some people can understand that, or maybe some people don't want to listen to that, or don't want music to mean that for them. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a different thing for you, right? Like when you're listening to jazz, like it's not the same as listening to Bruce Springsteen, right? Like you're just going for a different experience. And I can understand that with different genres of music, I can't really relate to jazz, but I mean like. There's just different types of music you want to listen to at different times. You know what I mean? So, like, I think, for us, maybe just not being ready for what.
Yeah, I definitely didn't feel like I was ready for that.
I'm very interested. I think that's a good point because I listen to there's this artist I listen to, Thundercat. I just discovered.
Oh, okay. He's awesome, isn't he?
I really love Thundercat.
Yeah, he's fucking
produced
awesome.
for like Kendrick Lamar and done like bass stuff for all that.
He's done stuff for Mac Miller on Swimming.
Yeah,
it's
fucking
awesome.
And there's just certain like
Mac
jazz
Miller, R.I.P.
aspects, like.
Oh no! Okay, he actually is dead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he is.
I was trying to make a joke. I was thinking of Macklemore.
Well, Macklemore's alive.
I know. I thought you said Macklemore, so the joke was gonna be Macklemore, R.I.P. But Mac Miller's really dead, so R.I.P.
I gotcha. Mac Miller is dead. Yeah.
And I was listening to Thundercat, and I just listened to it was jazz, but like it was a funk song.
Yeah, he's super funky.
But then you hear this jazz part, and like I don't know, I almost want to play it. Like it made a lot of sense in that, but like when you separate them, and you're here now. You know what I mean? It's weird, and it's the same thing. It's that jazz part was that. It's weird to have the baby crying, but if you're in the context of it's beautiful to have a baby. You're okay. But like in the moment, it's just the fucking baby crying. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's the best. That's as good as but I don't know. I just still get a thrill out of it. And I don't want people who are new to jazz to think that jazz is like listening to a baby crying, because it's not true. Like there's certain parts of the music that I really like it's like, to me, that was a very like tiptoe, beautiful, like very like tasteful, like groove driven things. But that record, I think, too, as far as the jazz as a genre is concerned, there's like free jazz, smooth jazz,
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
all sorts
Like-
of different jazz. And I think when it got into the free is when
Yes.
it's known for being that way.
Right. We vibed with the rest of the record, really.
Right.
We were okay
Yeah,
with it.
it's just that whatever. So, what would you say? What kind of jazz would you say that last song is? That
That
little
was-
rhythm.
That,
Yeah.
that was free jazz.
That I don't like that. Like, like that elevator kind of music, or like that kind of like every Christmas I listen to the Charlie Brown Christmas, the jazz, with the note. Well, there's a little bit of singing, but just as like a jazz Christmas album, and I love it. I play it around the house, like around the holidays. I love it. But like that free jazz where you can't predict where things are going.
Lack of structure.
Lack of structure, yeah, it just fucking befuddles me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what separates the genres, like I said, is that the kind of the spaces in between the improvisation and the melody. You know what I mean? I think smooth jazz, it's smooth because
Yeah, you could.
it's got the blues in it or the funk.
Yeah,
you can keep it, and it just goes this. I do think it, no matter what it is, I think free jazz. I could be using that term wrong. I just was looking this up on Wikipedia like a week ago.
No,
I'm not.
I think-
my own exposure to jazz is
I think
not.
you're right.
I haven't listened to.
Well, it was
Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
very free form, very just all over
But
the
I
place.
really like that, especially that specific part when on the saxophone that you guys hated. It was like, and because it does that, and then he hits a note, and I don't know. I like it. I understand it, and there's no. I don't know.
Well, and it's not quite the same. Like it was definitely more like unsettling to me for sure. But like, I mean, I've definitely had songs. I think, and again, it's not the best example, but "Fastest Horse in Town" by Sturgill Simpson. A little harsh at first. Like that wasn't my favorite song. It's kind of like, ugh, you know what I mean? But now I fucking love that song. You know what I mean? I just understand it. I know how to contextualize it. Maybe. Like, so I think that I could absolutely get to a place where I could love a little rice and beans. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't, you know what I mean?
Eventually.
Not today.
But today is not that day.
No.
Right. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
to be fair, like I said, you've listened to your only exposure so far really has been that Fusion record, which has a strong
I enjoy it.
country. It has a strong backbone to which you guys are familiar.
Yes.
And it kind of introduces you into these weird, chaotic parts.
And you know what?
I listened to that album 25, like maybe 50 times all the way through. So I'm just more familiar with it. So maybe the jump from that to TRYPNOTYX wasn't as extreme. Because, like I say, the big thing's exposure. And the main thing is that I don't want to turn anyone off to the genre.
I think that's true of music in general, like exposure. You know what I mean? Like you just need to, even if it's just a record that you need to listen to over and over. But perhaps even a visual element would have helped. Like if we saw it being played live and could see this, I don't know. I could be wrong, but maybe like seeing like the saxophone player like play.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating.
And it's weird too because like a lot of that free jazz, weird saxophone parts I was telling Joe are like a lot of that's in hip hop. Like some of the main influences in hip hop were like so many like jazz influences in hip hop, like Gangstar Jazz Band. The main influence was a jazz band. You know what I mean? And but they have their own, because hip hop's very beat based. So still, again, you have that backbone on which to place this kind of freeform thing.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Yes.
It's just not as defined. It's
Well,
not as defined.
the backbone was there, and then they took the backbone out.
Yeah.
For a little rice
It's like
and
you
beans.
ripped my spine out, and I
It's a
couldn't fucking.
spineless fucking song.
like a blob.
Well, I'd like to play it because I don't even remember that track.
Well, let's again, I mean, it was featured in the clip, but
I just want to hear the chorus. I'm not gonna put you through the bleeding again.
The bleeding.
the bleeding.
Shoot.
I'm not gonna.
It's the best bleeding.
Okay,
There's
you
no
know,
better bleeding.
I don't even need to say it. You know what I'm
I
going.
know what you're. I know what you're.
Bastards.
John Cena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played it for Max when he was over here before.
Oh yeah, we heard it. I won't like sit through it again. You know it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know it.
But I think that's groovy. That's like salsa.
Yes. I got no problem with that. I really didn't have a problem with that part.
No,
But
I
think
didn't
about
either.
this. Think about the salsa dancer. Ready? How I told you it's like a kid crying. But what about this? What about the salsa dancer shaking her titties? That's an actual connection I made before. Like to me, like I don't. It's movement of your. It could be movement of your body.
Well, again, I mean,
You said maybe if we saw it, maybe if there was some
Maybe.
kind of visual connection. That's
Well,
what I thought
and then-
when I think
well-
about saxophone.
and my other theory is that, which I suggested in the text group, is that Joe and I perhaps just underwent traumatic experiences where jazz was being played in the background,
You were
and that's
raped
why it
to
was
a
so
jazz.
Yeah.
I asked.
No.
I asked my mom, and she was like, "I don't think I played any like jazz music. Well, maybe like your uncle did, or another family member
Maybe
did."
an
But
uncle.
like, I'm like, I don't remember like. And the jazz music that I do remember listening to, I enjoyed, like the Charlie Brown, like Christmas thing, like I
A
said,
lot
or
of people
like
know the most jazz people have been like listen to is like the scat singers.
sure, like the Ella Fitzgeralds and the
Yeah,
Miles
from-
Davises. Yeah, like
like
I
Jungle
like.
Book. Who's that guy? Pennies from Heaven. That kind
Louis
of
Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong. People know that, and that's
Yeah.
their only exposure, really.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. It's interesting what a week does, because like the next day, I mean, I did think about it all week, but like the next day, I was like so turned off. To
Were you
jazz.
really?
I was like, I never want to hear this shit again. I was really turned off by the and this is not you. You weren't doing this, but like the intellectual aspect of jazz, like. You're just not the quote I sent where it's like it became a thing. Intellectuals picked it up and it's like, well, you can't understand. You don't have a college degree. You can't
Yeah,
understand.
that's
this.
annoying though. Because
I'm
not
very
that,
big
like,
turn off.
What's weird for me is like, fuck those people then. Fuck all and fuck whatever genres they fucking. Because like to me, it's like I didn't look for jazz because I thought it was. I just liked Victor Wooten a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That like I say, that's just a natural progression from this weird fusion band that I discovered to this band.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't like it either. I don't necessarily like people. Like you sent me something like jazz is like purposely playing the wrong notes. Well, if you're purposely doing anything, that's not improvisation. Improv is something you feel.
Okay.
I
That's
just don't,
very-
I
yeah,
really
good
don't
point.
agree. And if you're like the kind of jazz musician that's gonna do that, like, well, to be honest, your music's boring.
Well,
Because if you base it on a scale, like playing the wrong notes on purpose implies that there's a known pattern or scale you based it on, and every note that they skip, you play. Which
Yes,
which
yes.
it's okay for like
But
a
that's-
backing thing, but
okay.
like that doesn't make you fucking smart.
but that's what you were describing. But that I laughed when you said it during the podcast. You're like, they're on every other time except the time, like however you said it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes it annoying. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they're specifically avoiding the familiar time signatures that we're used to. You know, like
Yeah, well, I think I don't know, and it's weird because almost you want to say like, well, it's purposely different, but it's not because it's an old art form. It's one of the original American
well,
music.
yes,
Sure.
jazz was the pop music before there
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
pop music. You know what I mean? That's what's so interesting. And that's what I enjoyed about the whole debacle. Was like me looking into jazz. Okay, where did jazz start? But you know what I mean? Because I really never thought about it before, to be honest.
Because
with you,
when you
know?
think about where it started, it certainly wasn't from, I don't think it wasn't from a place of like superiority or anything like that.
no,
No.
not at the start. It
Yeah.
just kind of got co-opted, I think.
Yeah.
You know, by a sort of highfalutin crowd. But
Mm-hmm.
and and maybe Joe, you have Kind of Blue. I mean,
Have you listened to it yet?
Not yet. No.
Don't be afraid of that one because from what I've read,
Yeah.
that one's a lot different.
You get in a good groove and a
Yeah.
good okay.
But I mean, to go back to what happened last week, I think our analogy was good about being thrown into the deep end, and
Yeah.
I think we could ease into it and end up end up liking
down
it
the
a lot.
road liking it. It's probably like similar to like the first time you ever heard like hip hop, or the first time you ever heard like
Yeah, I
I
did
don't
not
know.
like hip hop.
like punk
When I first
music
heard
or
hip-hop, I wasn't. I thought
And-
that was shit when I
And
first.
you're just when you don't like it, you're just not hearing it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it's playing, but you're just not getting it. It's not connecting with you. It's missing.
Right.
You know.
And I heard another thing too is like about these bleats and weird things like they call it jazz isn't so much about they're like what makes a bad jazz song, and they like it was basically like an old jazz song, and like the guy was going like he just played the same literal note over and over again. And they said like, yeah, this is fucking terrible. Like no wonder it's like so like looked down on. But then like they played a similar song with the same thing and it sounded great. And like this was Adam Neely, I think his name is, or his last name's Neely. He's like a YouTube channel with like a lot of views. He's like a music like instructor and that kind of thing. And he talked about how like jazz is a lot of it's like the voice the instrument makes. Like instruments don't make the same sound every time you pluck the string. Like there's such a variety of voicings for one instrument, and I think another like staple of jazz is like musicians exploring those voicings, which is why you get those really loud like bleats and stuff, because they're just exploring what the instrument is capable of. So
Yeah, for sure. So I'd be interested. I don't know. Maybe we could bring back just the B side, you know, to do. But although I don't know, because this is gonna be like a little episode in and of itself. But we didn't. I don't know. We maybe have to bring the whole thing back or something, because I'm not gonna. We didn't really. Well, hey. I mean, you're admitting that you maybe again down the road. But I'm just saying, we'll keep an open mind and
Side B's okay with me. I think
maybe try it again. What I'm saying is, if we listen to Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, maybe we listen to another one, and then like okay,
Yeah, I gotta
ready to try it again.
Yeah, I gotta warm up to it a little more first before we jump back into
start at the kiddie end of the pool.
Exactly.
Work our way over.
Yep.
So I think it could be a possibility. But yeah, so that's what happened last week. I'm glad it happened. I can't. It was.
I never thought it would happen.
I never either.
Well,
I never knew music.
I never thought it would happen.
Well, that's what I didn't mention when we in the text group. You guys kind of.
There's been records that I fucking just don't want to. Like, is this over yet?
Yeah,
but it's like I get it.
But I could still sit through it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what I didn't mention is you guys connected in the text group, like where like you were saying like I wasn't offended, I was just genuinely shocked. And then Joe's like, yeah. I was fucking shocked too. I didn't know music could affect me in that way. Like,
yeah.
So it was just kind of an experience for all of us. But
exactly.
I thought it was something. It was good to go through. It's something that again.
That was cool. I think I said when we did the podcast, like I don't know if I want to rank this like number one or like the last because it was such an experience that I've never experienced before. Like, do I rank that first or do I rank it? Like, I don't know. I don't even know where to rank it like on the spectrum. Like, it was out there. It was different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's it. We did a collaboration tonight with the other Record Night podcast, which we'll see depending on what they send me. I'll put something out about that. But next week it's gonna be Joe's turn
again
for record. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, Jake brought the
one.
I'm not gonna. Joe.
Okay, I have plenty of records.
Well, that's what I mean. Joe's got plenty of records. I've got Cosmic Country coming up, so that's I'm gonna really we're going all out for that. We're all gonna take LSD and listen to that record. Even Jake is gonna take LSD. So if his any factory bosses are watching the podcast,
Make sure to drug test them, especially for LSD.
Right. No, I'm kidding. I'll probably cut all this out.
How about that Record Night podcast?